Hi everyone, I'm happy to see all of you watching our new episode of Cambium College. And today we have very important topic, which is security and encryption in wireless. And security is becoming more and more important topic every day, especially with the growth of the Internet of Things and other wireless technologies. And my name is Dmitry Moiseev, and I'm going to cover this topic about security and encryption in wireless. So, agenda for today's Cambium College is how we can build up the layered security, and I'm trying to do it from two different perspectives. So first perspective is the hardware vendor, which is doing wireless and networking equipment, which we are, Cambium. And the second perspective is the operator perspective that is using our equipment. So first, very important thing many people forget is physical security. Things like detecting physical tampering, prevent unauthorized uh, software in your network and unauthorized hardware in your network, encrypt sensitive data, defend against network attacks. So this kind of physical security. Then we will go to management security. And the number one thing in management security is to prevent all kinds of unauthorized access. And you always have to be prepared for disaster. And this is what we do in Cambium. We are trying to build hardware that helps you to do this. So then data security, meaning the encryption of the over-the-air data. And I think that in Cambium, all our equipment supports over-the-air encryption, and it is the key thing that provides security basis of your data that is sent over wireless. Prevent decoding of all your network transmissions. Again, the encryption, it helps to prevent all types of decoding of network transmission. And the last but not least, for us it is very important, and for operators it is process security. So we build our products with this security in mind, and we spend a lot of efforts and we invest time um, in making our products secure. And the very last one is getting validation from third parties. By this we mean certifications of all kinds. And again, those certification can be applied on both vendor side and on the operator side of the security procedure. So we as a vendor can be certified using some well-known standards of security certification, and the same applies to the companies and operators using wireless products. So physical security, what it means. So the number one thing, and we always forget it in most cases, when we build the secure network and secure equipment, the first thing we have to do is detect physical tampering. If we forget to lock the cabinet with the networking equipment, we know that someone can connect to the switch and have the access to the network. And no matter what we do, trying to encrypt data and trying to lock uh, remote access with some VPN and other technologies, if we forget about very simple and very basic thing as physical security, we can never be secure. So start with the physical, uh, what you can do in terms of physical security and what we can do as a company, as a vendor to help you. So to detect physical tampering of devices, and some of our products support this feature. So check that there is no evidence of any tampering of devices, that the seals are not broken, and again, don't forget to lock network cabinets. So the next thing is denial of service. So denial of service means attacks that causing your service to go down. And we as a vendor, again, we are doing our best to protect all management interfaces of our devices from denial of service. So you can always have access to the management interface, which is key. And on most our products, we prioritize with the quality of service management traffic, so you can always access management interface in case of any security breach or any other security issue. As a general policy, as a security best practice, uh, it's a good idea to disable all unused ports and protocols in your network. So if you don't use some types of protocol for management especially, it is a good idea to disable it. Just an example, if you don't use HTTP to manage your devices, and in Cambium we give you a lot of tools to manage devices. For example, CN Maestro, it is our cloud management platform. And if you're using CN Maestro for management and you don't use web interface, you can even block this traffic on your firewall in your network and don't use it. So what else we can do in terms of the security? From the hardware vendor side, we can help to prevent all kinds of unauthorized software running on our hardware. And the key thing to do this is to sign all software images that we produce. And again, it applies on all variety of hardware equipment we produce in Cambium. And if you don't have properly signed software, it will not load and boot up on Cambium equipment. Other thing that we try to do, and it is a security best practice, is to encrypt all your sensitive parameters. So things like secure storage of all the security parameters like passwords, encryption keys, and things like this. And to be assured that we are not storing them in a clear text. So attacker or someone can download configuration file and read it easily. So we assure that this secure storage is consistent. Other things we do is avoiding all types of hard-coded passwords, default security certificates, and user payload. So in the operator network, please check that you don't have any default passwords used on any kind of equipment. And please don't forget that the other mean to access and manage sometimes is using some types of certificates, for example, for SSH. So please be assured that there is no default security certificates available. So management security. And again, we are coming to the best practices of secure access to management interface. It is always good idea to log management access to certain access list. So it can be your certain VLAN, it can be a list of IP addresses, it can be even the certificates on the specific laptops. So it is always a good idea to have a solid access list who can access your management interface. And the security best practice is to avoid those management interface to be easily accessible from internet. So things like web interface or SNMP, we definitely recommend to block access to those from internet. Other thing is using secure protocols, such as HTTPS, which is the secure version of HTTP, protocols such as SNMP version 3 that supports encryption and authorization, advanced authorization in the protocol itself. So if the hardware supports those protocols, it is always better to use HTTPS and SNMP v3 comparing to the HTTP and the older versions of SNMP. Again, it is a best practice not to use default passwords and security certificates of any kind. Please ensure that you have some password rules and you have the aging of these passwords. So what I see very often that operators, they use relatively simple passwords for the admin access, and they never age those passwords. So those passwords last forever. With CNMaestro, which is our cloud management platform in Cambium, we are helping customers to enforce those password changes. So we can change passwords on the all equipment managed by CNMaestro using templates, so we can change it on the whole network. And again, it is a security best practice. The next important thing is detect and log all the system activity. In most cases, on most of our hardware produced by Cambium, we have at least 3 different roles of user accounts, such as admin, which has the highest level of access. The next one usually installer. Then we have some differences depending on the hardware, such as read-only or home user. So using multiple access levels is always good. The next good thing is to have the centralized storage of all the event logs, especially logs about access to the management interface. So most of equipment coming from Cambium supports syslog. So you can set up the syslog server that will collect all those activities from all the equipment installed. So please be sure use syslog for this. Other thing, and again it is supported on a huge variety of different hardware from Cambium, is protocol called Radius, which helps you to set up authorization using this Radius server. So instead of using local credentials for each specific unit, you can set up special server which is called Radius server, and when you try to log in through the HTTP or SSH or other means, equipment will go to the central Radius storage to check those credentials. And usually it is using encrypted protocols, so this communication between device and Radius server is encrypted, and it is the proper way to manage users and user credentials. So, wireless encryption. As I said, wireless encryption is a key thing that is supported on all varieties of our Cambium equipment. And I think that we don't have any equipment that doesn't have any encryption at all. Depending on the model, depending on the product family, we have different sorts of wireless encryption over the air. With the PTP 700, which is a military grade hardware, we have the highest level of security, which is certified by the FIPS standard, which is a highest standard of the wireless, not only wireless, all kind of encryption. So what do you need to know? That we do our best to encrypt all the data and to protect from all types of attacks that is trying to decode data coming over the wireless. The next thing is secure device authentication. So for the fixed broadband wireless access subscriber models, usually you can set up some types of white lists of units that can connect to the access point. Depending on the specific model from PMP 450 or ePMP, those functions work different. But in most cases, you can set up, or you can even set up Radius server to limit subscribers that you want to access the network. What happens very often? People use default WPA passwords or default access passwords for the access point, and someone like attacker or someone can buy similar equipment from Cambium and just connect to your access point using default WPA password or encryption key, and get the access to the whole network. And it is more or less the same as leaving your network cabinet open. So please check that you do this. Okay. Other thing, if we speak about security and encryption and wireless, one key topic is the Wi-Fi security. And when we speak about Wi-Fi security, there are two major standards of the wireless encryption. The old one called WEP, Wide Equivalent Privacy. It is an old one, and for our CN Pilot Wi-Fi product line, we don't even support it. But if you still have old wireless equipment using this old wireless um, standard, you should stop doing this because it is very, very insecure. The new way of security, the new wave of Wi-Fi security is WPA2. It can be, there are multiple versions of WPA2, which one is personal, the other one is enterprise using centralized security storage. In terms of, in case of personal, there are multiple encryption standards used. The most popular is AES. So the idea and the protection from if you're setting up a Wi-Fi is to use long enough pre-shared key. The minimum length is about 8 characters, but you have to know that attacker can brute force 8-character long pre-shared key pretty fast nowadays. So it is a good idea to use pre-shared key as long as you can. So how to defend your Wi-Fi system, which is using WEP standard. Again, it is very, very unsecure, so please just stop using the WEP, and I don't even want to spend your time describing other means of securing it. So the WPA and WPA2 is using passphrases, or the in enterprise version it is using certificates for authorization. So if you are using WPA personal, you are using passphrases. Again, if attacker can sniff the handshake, the time when client connects to the access point, he can brute force the passphrase relatively fast, and it is recommended to use the long passphrase, for example, like 20 characters long passphrase in this case. So the last part of security is a process security, and there are multiple ways to assure the process security. The first thing, and again, it's a part of the standard, which is ISO 9000 standard. It tells you how to structure your processes in your company. So we in Cambium, we assure that we have the proper software development process. So with structured code reviews, build integrity with a version control, and it is integral part of the development process. Other thing is vulnerability scanning, and it is also applied to the operator as well. So we, as a hardware manufacturer, we do all types of vulnerability scanning of our hardware that we produce and the software we write. In case you're an operator, you can apply vulnerability scanning to the whole network and scan all variety of networking nodes in your network. And the last part is industry validation. with some of our products, we have the FIPS certified hardware. Um, so if you need the high level of security, you can look for a certified hardware um, with a certain level of security standards. Okay, I think that's it in terms of the slides. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask um, anything you have. Um, so it's a huge bonus to watch us online, to watch our Cambium College online, because you can always ask questions if you have any in terms of the uh, if you have any questions regarding security and encryption in specific Cambium products, please feel free to ask them. If you watch it offline, please go to community forum and you can ask any kind of question you have on our community forum. We actively read all the comments, and both engineers, managers, all Cambium employees read community forum, and we will be more than happy to assist you and answer your questions. Okay, I think we don't have any questions coming from the audience. So thank you for your time. I hope this overview was useful, and thank you for watching Cambium College. Have a great day.